Good morning, everyone. As you know, I used to be a chef cook up in the oil sands. I did it for 17 years. I've set up, torn down many camps. Recently, the companies did a whole pile of work permits and work sponsors, which these people really ganged up on a lot of us and cost us our jobs. We were falsely terminated. I was falsely terminated from my job. It was a wrongful termination, still have not received any termination pay, back pay, losses, damages, lost everything fighting it. The Labor Board dragged it out for 2.5 years. Human Rights dragged it out since 2012. First of all, I joined an organization back in 2010. I came out west to work in about 2007 to help support my family in Ontario. I had to move out here for my job to keep the job in order to support my family. Anyways, long story short, from day one, I went through sexual harassment and bullying in the workplace. I tried to stop it from happening, but when you report it, this is the kicker. When you report sexual harassment in the workplace, you get demoted and suspended. And the person that is doing the harassment and the bullying and the sexual assault, they get promoted, which just blew me away with this organization because I'm born and raised in Canada. I was raised in Sudbury, Ontario, growing up as a child. I had a son at 18. I stayed in Ontario till I was about 35 to 40 years old. I had to start coming out west for work because there was no work in Ontario that would support me and my son. My son had to go to work because I had to work out of province and I couldn't afford to support him. He had to get a job too. He started working on farms probably around 10 years old, but he was actually working, I think, full-time by the time he was 17. Had no choice. It's the only way we could survive. However, long story short, the organization I got involved in, when there was monies missing off my paychecks and whatnot, I would go to them about it and they would never do anything about it. If I complained about it, I got suspended and it cost me more. So I did go to the police about it back then and they said, well, just go to another camp. So I did go to another camp in hopes that the harassment, the bullying, and the sexual harassment would stop. Keep in mind, I've never, ever met any of these people in my whole life. I know nothing about them. I don't go to their places, to their homes. I don't party with them. I would go to my bedroom and I would study when I was in camps. I would learn extra stuff, whatever. Any courses that I would sign up through this organization, I was always turned down. They would never, ever help to educate me. Any education I did on my own time that I would try to submit to the organization to reimburse me, their excuses were always, no, we don't pay for that. No, the companies don't pay for that. Well, we have an education fund in that organization. However, it's not accessible to any of the workers. Well, anyways, to most of the workers. The people that it is accessible to is the people that they sponsor into our country from other countries. So they get firsthand education, but the Canadians don't. So all our education ends up coming out of our pockets, and the company does not reimburse us, and nor does our organization. So that's a cost extra, a cost plus that comes out of the workers' pockets. I mean, they require us to have all this extra safety stuff, but they don't want to pay for it and they don't want to reimburse it, which is a real shame because you could probably have more caring staff if you did it. But hey, who am I to complain about it? I never, ever saw a dime back. So anyways, back on the track, the sexual harassment started right on the first day that I started working for this company. And I still remember the guy's name. And it went on for the first 3 days of working for them. And I finally screamed at the man, telling him, look, stay away from me. Don't talk to me that way. It's sexual harassment. Buzz off. Company did nothing. Actually, my chef kept trying to set me up with their butcher at the time. And I was dating a man in British Columbia. I always had a boyfriend when I worked for this organization. But it didn't seem to matter to these men. They didn't care. The more that you stayed away from them or pushed them away or complained about it, the worse it got. Um, I've dealt with astronomical amounts of violence in the back of our kitchens. I've dealt with men fighting that are like 7 feet tall where the knives are going to be flying. And I've also dealt with men coming up behind me and rubbing their midriffs up against the back of me when I'm panning up food or whatever in the back of the kitchen, which is part of the reason that I wanted cameras in our kitchens, in the mining camps, or any isolated sites, because the violence in the men that can't themselves, it's very degrading. And we report it, and all of a sudden we're the liars and we're making it up. Well, guess what, gentlemen? We are not the liars. The women are not lying. A lot of us are getting sexually assaulted in the workplaces. And yeah, actually, it cost me my career. And because I came forward and public with it, I've now been blacklisted from every job you can possibly think of. I can't get a job. Nobody will hire me because I spoke up, which is a real shame too, because we're in Canada. I don't know where you people got the right to touch people. I don't know where you's got the right to sexually assault us. I don't know where you's got the right to get away with it. And it absolutely baffles me. The organization that I was involved in supports it. They think it's a big joke that the women are being attacked in the backs of kitchens. I know of one other chef that I briefly worked with, and I'm not going to say where. She asked one of the guys to take out the garbage. It was his job. He's a general helper. That's what they get hired to do. We're hired to cook, they're hired to clean. Anyways, the guy turned around and grabbed the woman by the throat, held her off the ground, feet dangling, and wouldn't let go. And really, like this, these people should be put in jail for assault. Like, enough is enough. Now, it's ruined my career. I was at a scene here in Fort McMurray. A whole bunch of our CMP were there. Really, really nice people. And one of the co-workers that I've never ever met that's in this organization had to take his time to come up and tell me, you can't work up there anymore. Well, you know what? He went out of his way to harass me in my camper and my truck. Never saw the guy before in my life. Don't know who he is. Don't care who he is. Now, mind you, he was on camera, and there was a criminal investigation going on at that scene. And I actually showed the cameras to where, for a couple of police, and showed exactly where that person was parked. And it's on camera that he was harassing me. So it really baffles me that the organization I'm involved in allows it to still go on, even though they've made it very clear that they can't keep me working. I pay the organization to keep me working. I've got documentation to prove that they will not let me work. Now, it absolutely baffles me that 2.5 years after they've ruined my life, they're still holding back my money. This is still bullying and still harassment, what they're doing. I'm basically being held prisoner for not breaking any laws. I can't get my money still. I fall under 7 out of 8 federal laws. I need emergency surgery. I need emergency housing. I need a job. My organization should be responsible to re-educate me, because it's their fault that I'm not working. They didn't do their jobs. They covered it up. They played stupid for years. And I can give names live if I want to. And I can play their game too. But these people literally went out of their way to ruin my life. I don't know who they are. I never cared who they were. I could care less. I went up there to cook, get a job done, get my paychecks just like anybody else, and leave. But for some reason, like, here's a funny example. We have to change our gloves all the time with work because of cross-contamination. Literally, a woman wrote me up for changing my gloves in the kitchen. Got me hauled in the office with new managers. And this is like right when I'm busy cooking. I'm very busy. I've got a lineup of guys to cook for. And this chick is writing me up for changing my gloves. And I'm like, wow. And you want to be a boss? Well, I'll tell you, We have to change our gloves. We have to wash our hands. It's called cross-contamination if you don't do it. So all of these things are things that, these are the kinds of things they wrote me up for. They fired me for drinking water out of a measuring cup, saying that I had to supply my own vessel. Well, I went through the company's rules and regulations. Nowhere in it does it say you have to supply your own equipment, which 90% of the time I did anyways. And I fought for T2200 papers so that we could claim our knives and equipment, because they really don't supply good knives. And cutting with dull knives, well, you're going to get injured, which is even worse. So yeah, so all of these little things, I was written up for, I think, going to the bathroom. I was written up for the way I eat, how much food I eat, what kind of food I eat, like literally stalked. So it got to a point in the first couple of months of working for the company that I would take a bag lunch to my bedroom, because it's nobody's business what I eat. My diet is not your business. And yes, I eat steak. Yes, I eat chicken. Yes, I eat fish. And yes, I eat pork. I don't know. They wrote me up saying that I only eat chicken. I don't know where these people get this crap. Basically bullying and targeted continuously. People that are just busybodies. It actually baffled me that, I'm a nail biter. I chew my nails. This is another one. They would write me up for chewing my nails when I wasn't working. It's none of their business. Now, whether it's toxic to my body or not, it's none of their business. My fingernails are not going in their mouths, so it's none of their business. So is that really something to be writing people up about? Come on. These are the kinds of things that these people were doing to me. I've never met people that are such busybodies that they have to look at the weight of a person, how they work. I was quadruple fast than anybody else in the workplace, and I still am. They would write me up because I had prescription and took medication. None of their business. They drug tested me 14 times with no pay for 2 weeks at a time. You do the math. When you're clearing $4,000 every 2 weeks, you subtract 14 times from your paycheck in a short time of 5 years, and you see how much money it costs you. The company owes me that money. That's harassment. To even drug test me 14 times was absolutely ridiculous. The same company, the same oil companies, and the same union over and over and over again. And I would write up the sexual assault that was being done to me is on camera and it is dated. However, the only people that can get access to that is the courts and the RCMP. Which I'm quite content with, because if I gave the dates to the organization, well, they would go and erase the cameras and the evidence would be gone. People came forward to WCB, to the Labor Board, to Human Rights. The proof is there. Witnesses did come forward. The reason why I don't give the witnesses' names are, they'll do the same to them. Cost them their job, harass the hell out of them to get them to shut up. Now, I don't understand why they have to protect these people or hide it so much. As a matter of fact, voting. We were voting on collective agreements, something I was never really involved in before. I'm usually just a worker, get my pay, and I leave. If there's money's missing, I take it up with the managers and I get my money, and I've never had problems till I joined this organization. So we were in the middle of voting for this collective agreement. My own president of my union pointed right at me and screamed, "If you voted no, you don't deserve to work up here." Well, guess what, Mr. President? I have a right to work in the mining sectors. Unfortunately, yourself and some of your managers that you hang around with, rather than protecting the workers, you people have been threatening me for 10 years. And as it stands right now, By holding back my money and not doing my job, first of all, you never represented me equally. You have a duty of fair representation. And did you know in unions, if you threaten your workers, it is an automatic dismissal of you running our union. You have no right to yell and scream at any of the union members. We pay your wages. You work for us. We don't work for you. So with all due respect, either this union gets their stuff together, or I am going to find a way. Well, I'm actually holding them directly responsible for the loss of my career, losses and damages at work. They protected a bunch of work permits that were from Sri Lanka and India. That doesn't make me racist. That's where they're from. If I was a cop and I was asking for a description of a person at the scene of a crime, my questions would be, what did the person look like? Would they be Caucasian? Are they Indian? Are they Aboriginal? Did they have an accent? What country do you figure they're from? Are they African American? These are all questions that a police officer would ask at a crime scene. So why would I be racist by describing the people that sexually assaulted me by being Indian and from Sri Lanka? That's not racist. That's the race that did it to me. That's the culture that did it to me. So don't turn it around on me and tell me that I am racist. Do you know what makes me racist? Is people twisting people's words and not admitting to their damages that they've caused to my life. They didn't give a damn that they were ruining my life, that they were harassing me, that they were bullying me, and they certainly didn't give a damn when they came up behind me, rubbing their midriffs up against me in the backs of the kitchens. Now, had I taken a knife and stabbed them, I'd be in jail over it. Yet they're allowed. They turned around, they promoted these men and egged it on. Thought it was really, really funny. Well, guess what, guys? It isn't funny. You ruined my life. I lost everything. I lost my house. I lost my apartment. I lost my truck. I lost my furniture. And yet you still have done nothing to ratify it. Now, this company owes me money and lots of it. My paychecks prove it. Okay? It points out every dime that's missing and every time I wasn't paid. And yes, I can prove that my shop stewards were perjuring me. And as far as I'm concerned, none of them should be representing any of us because they lie and they pick sides and they decide on who they should protect. You know what? You protect the people that are honest and hardworking, not the criminals. And if you're going to keep protecting the criminals in our workplaces, then your workplace is going to go to hell. And you're going to have more violence, and your violence is going to get worse and worse. And you know what? Somebody's going to end up dead because of your lack there of direction. You don't want to give direction. You just want to keep the money. You don't care if the union members end up dead. As a matter of fact, by holding back my monies right now, you have put me and my family at risk. You put me at extreme risk. I've had to resort to living in a camper and inside my truck for 2.5 years because of all the money that's been stolen by me. I don't care if you guys want to call it a labor dispute. In my eyes, what I've researched in law, I've researched that it's federal fraud. Now, when you hold back a person's monies, it's a criminal offense. When you sexually assault people, it's a criminal offense. Now, these people in this organization I was involved in, I don't care if the whole pack of them go to jail. As a matter of fact, I'd like to be a police officer for 1 week. Can you please swear me in so I can go arrest them and close the gate? I would be more than happy to go out there with handcuffs and handcuff every one of them. Because you know what? They deserve it. I swear. God bless you. Have a nice day. Please be aware of what's going on in our workplaces. This is Evelyn Charan. Have a nice day. Goodbye.